Yes, yes, yes. Have we begun? Are we on?
Yep, we are live. Black Eyes
Live again. That's all. Black Eyes TV in the house once again, bringing you more information to the people. Yeah, for empowerment, for knowledge, for your general everyday practices. And today we've got another relationship show with our Kings and Queens United ladies and special guests today. But before we get to them, let me speak to my co-host, Mr. Riggs. Speak to the people then.
Welcome, 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 family. Hope you are going to enjoy this fantastic day as it's a power move day as we are trying to educate ourselves in information that we need to know. And we've got two beautiful sisters from the Kings and Queens as usual. And they're going to interview a beautiful couple from the Black History Studies. We all know them, Mark and Charmaine. So, Sister Moot, push it away. Sister Moot. Tamira, just take it.
Yes, yes. So, hi everyone. I'm Tamar from the Kings and Queens United. I'm the founder and CEO of Kings and Queens United, and we've been running these campaigns. So, if you've been tuning in, you've probably I've seen quite a lot in terms of topics that we've discussed, the history, the spirituality. Believe the last one was on sex, casual sex. But tonight, as Terry says, we've got the wonderful, the absolutely inspiring couple with us today from Black History. Mark and Charmaine Simpson, and we'll be discussing Kings and Queens Black History Studies. Um, that is what the couple represents. But as you know, they are a couple, so it means there is a relationship, there is a marriage, and we're going to be getting a bit into it today. And yeah, you'll see what's to come. But before we do get into it, I will ask Sister Mut to introduce herself, and then our special guest. You're on mute, Sister Mut. Take off your mute.
There we go. Greetings. So my name is Sister Mut. So I have been involved in Kings and Queens for almost a year now. My background is in childbirth as a professional birthing partner, a doula. And spanning over the last 14, 15 years. So when couples becomes of importance, the conversations for post-traumatic slave syndrome become important. I have to work quite closely with our community and couples within the community at one of the most intimate of their life. So it's an honor to be put in a position to do that, and I respect the space that I am in, but also it means that I do have to work quite closely, and that means I do get to see things that challenge the community. So why I came onto Kings and Queens United. And of course, we've got the wonderful Charmaine and Mark Simpson from Black History Studies. And of course, tonight we're going to be speaking, to them around the beliefs and misconceptions of a relationship. And we're going to go into the depths of that, because people out there, they're going to want to know, what does a couple that does the work that they do, what does it take? What does it take for a couple to stay together? What does it take for a couple to understand each other, to know each other, to work together, to interact and use the knowledge and have the skills that they have? And so we're having a little probe with Charmaine and Mark Simpson of Black History Studies. So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Greetings, greetings, thank you.
So, well, look, do you want to talk a little bit about yourself, share a little bit about yourself to start with? Tell people who don't know much about what you do, maybe give us a little bit of background about you.
Okay, so we are Black History Studies. We're the co-founders of the organization called Black History Studies, which we've been running for the past 10 years. And Black History Studies is an organization that aims to teach Black history and Black studies throughout the whole year. through a variety of different means, whether it's presentations, courses, museum tours, film screenings via our community cinema. We organise community events such as the Black Market and Film Festival event to support Black businesses in the community and Black independent filmmakers. We also self-publish our own books. We go out into various different places such as schools, prisons, to teach Black history and Black studies in the community, into corporate areas. We also do courses with parents. We also are quite involved in activism as well. So we actually go and support parents in terms of exclusions at school, supporting people in the community through a variety of different things such as homelessness, all different areas that we support the family. So we're very a community-focused business, and that's what we've been doing for the past 10 years.
Yeah, I can add to that. Basically, our strapline is educating the community to educate themselves. So we try to give the community as much information as possible in order for them to then go ahead and do the research themselves and make their own conclusions. Not plug in, but I can say we have a 10th year anniversary song. And if you go to YouTube and you search for Black History Studies culture mark, the video will come up, which kind of explains a lot of what we do. And you know, we're asking people to support and download the video as well. But the video is good in the sense that it shows a little bit of what we do in terms of on a daily basis. And we do it 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And there is no such thing as Black History Month for us. Yeah. It's just a Black History all year round, basically. Yeah. Can't hear you, sis.
Sorry. Yeah, look, that is, you know, a really, when you share how much you have done together and how you've worked together and even where you're at right now, that, you know, that really tells me that you've had to work really closely together. You've really had to synergize to make what you have created possible. Yeah, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah. So look, so before we even get started on, you know, finding out about you guys, you know, I suppose my first thing to say to you is I really acknowledge what it is you're doing in the community. I think it's phenomenal. I think, you know, it's so necessary, and the fact that you do, you know, courses for parents, that's, you know, really important, because, you know, so much work is done around youth and not enough work is done around the parents who are raising those same said youth. And, you know, identity is, you know, very, very important right now, given the situations that young people are in. So, you know, you really tackle, you know, something that's like the heart of the community and what the heart of the community needs. And I think it's very important, you know, that with a couple like yourselves, that, you know, you have to, obviously, you have to have a vision and a course that works, you know, and a structure and a system and some, you know, you'll have enough knowledge of each other and how each other works to establish something like this and have it work together so successfully. So just well done.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Absolutely. No, I was even going to say, like, when you said about going to prison and teaching Black history there as well, and in corporate organizations, particularly the prison, that's definitely something that I'm aware that more and more of our people are doing, because, you know, it is definitely, and it, not to say that if you're not in prison you don't need to learn Black history, but it's a really good area to focus on, and even if it's not the predominant thing that you do, it's really good. So if anyone's because I know I've come across quite a few people myself that I refer amongst people that can help. So if anyone's listening and they've got, I don't know, loved one in prisons, is it a thing that they can contact you directly, or is it more of an organized process that you go through in order to do this?
No, just get in contact with us. Pick up the phone, give us a call, send us an email, and then we'll get it arranged and provide support. We try to be a very approachable organization, so we're always out there and approachable to people as well, so that everybody can benefit from our work and our services that we offer.
Okay. No, good. Thanks for that. Because I'm sure people that's listening, I'm sure they may have, um, yeah, a few people that you could probably help to support as well. So without any further delay, as Sister did say, in order for you to do all what you do and still maintain your relationship, you mentioned about your 10-year business anniversary. But how long have you guys been married for?
So we've been together for
7,252,000 years.
Mark.
No, we've been together. We've been married for 11 years now.
Yeah.
11 years.
Wow.
But we've been together for 14 years.
And were you 14? Right. Okay. And who proposed?
I was 12 when I met her.
Oh, whatever.
And I proposed. I was in hospital when I proposed, actually. And it wasn't the traditional proposal. It was the Jamaican proposal.
Yeah.
I kind of proposed to her Jamaican style. Me and her mum went out to get the engagement ring. She never knew nothing about it. Yeah. I spoke to her dad, and her dad was like, "Huh? What? You really want?" Her mum was like, "You really want to marry her? You sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?" That's what her mum was saying.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah." And then I kind of didn't do the one knee thing because my foot was mashed up. So I just showed her the ring and said, "Marry me now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job it was, good job it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Good job that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
11 years ago. 11 years ago.
Yeah.
What was your response,
11,
Charmaine?
yeah.
Was it a case where let me think about it, or it's like hell yeah?
No, I just laugh because that's just Mark. Mark is just a crazy, happy-go-lucky, just out there personality. So when he said that, I thought, yeah, that is just Mark how he is, and I was like, of course. And then I said to him, what happens if I said no? Now would you have died on the hospital bed?
Probably would have.
So that was interesting. Me and Mark, we've been relationships just been lots of laughs and ups and downs and stuff. Because Mark when he was in hospital, he wasn't really well. So because he's had some health issues over the years. So when he asked me, I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'll look after you for the rest of your life, and you don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Oh, but what I respected, even with what Mark said, is the fact that he asked your father.
Yes. Yeah.
My dad was like, "What?" It wasn't her dad. It was her mom. My mom was saying,
Yeah.
"You sure you want to marry her? She miserable, you know." This is what her mom was warning me. Her mom was saying, "You sure? You sure?"
So the mother, so the daughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not easy. I don't play fool. I'm into the foolishness. I'm like,
Sorry, we can't hear you. Say that again.
Didn't catch that.
I'm one of them type of people that don't put up with much foolishness. So I got time to entertain nonsense. So I can come across like I'm being miserable. So my mum was like, "Are you sure?" Because I'm so much. You go away, Mark. I'm like so much like my dad as well. We just like. So my mum was like, "Yeah, you sure?" She knows how I stay.
Yeah, but she's been all right. She's not always miserable. There's a balance. There's a yin and yang. There has to be.
Yeah, you have to say that.
But after like 4 years of being together, or 3 years of being together, I mean, one of the common thing these days is women may put a time limit on it, and some may even feel that 3 years could even be long. I mean, a little bit longer than they would like to wait. Start to doubt whether the guy having means of really wanting to commit. Was it a thing that you were expecting a proposal sometime soon, or were you just happy just being together how you were?
We always spoke about commitment when we first got together. marriage was always on the cards anyway, and we were very committed to each other from an early stage anyway. So it was just like a next step.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were often talking about that because we're both coming from families where our parents were married, so that was a standard thing. And then I wanted to start a family, and I said I'm not having any children before I'm getting married, and that was one of my standards that I said I'm not doing, and that was the next step.
Yeah. And whilst marriage is important, it isn't the be all end all, because I have family. My cousin, she's been with her partner for about 40 years. They have 6 children, not married, and everything is rosy. But we understand it has to be a union between both people. One can't force the other, else it won't work. If you're both happy to do it, which we was, then yeah. But she didn't expect the proposal. No, she didn't. She wasn't expecting it. Not so quick.
Especially not by the sound of it, it wasn't in your best condition as well, Mark. So it was definitely a surprise.
No, it wasn't. But if she said no, I said, "Lord, no, go dead." That's what I'd have done, just to force her into it. So no, but I was on the mend, and a lot of it is to do with her as well. So yeah,
of course.
I've never told her that.
As women.
Eh? Say again?
As women, as women, we can be very caring and nurturing. So
no, but
yeah, it's
deeper than that, sister. It's deeper than that. Not just as women, as Black women, as African women, the mother of the whole universe, right? So yeah, there is a special thing there, and when people know themselves, those things radiate and transfer over to each other. So it's all good. Yeah,
I think what you're saying there. I mean, in terms of your well-being. I mean, there's a guy, Carl and Kenya Stevens, and there's this gentleman. He talks on relationships, brother and sister couple, and they discuss conversations about one of the things they say is that a man does not become a man until he heals a woman. But I would say, if that statement is true, it's for both sides. And I think, when a woman is when you're coming to a relationship, I don't adhere to sickness and in health personally as a vow. Yeah, I believe in health, and well-being and healing. So, I'm not dealing with sickness. Yeah, we are getting well. Yeah, that's why we're in it. Yeah, so we are healing. That's why we're in it. Yeah, we are growing. That's why we're in it. Yeah, so even with the couple that you are and the work that you do, and even the impact that you then, Charmaine, have on Mark's well-being, it makes a difference. Yeah, you're healing him, and he too heals you.
Yes, very true.
Definitely. Yeah, can't disagree with that. That's spot on.
Yeah, so I mean,
I would completely agree as well. It's the same I experience even in my marriage as well, in terms of how it works. But we're not here to talk about my marriage. We're here more focusing on yourselves. But I just wanted to say I completely agree. What would you say are some of the key principles that you founded your relationship on and have sustained your marriage through?
I would say the main 3 things is patience, understanding, and compromise. Definitely.
Yeah,
in the sense that patience, because we're all individual beings, and in order to make it work, you have to give a little and take a little, right? Understanding, you have to understand that not everybody grow the way you grow, not everybody's relationship is the way you're, and not everything they say out there is what it is, right? And compromise means that there is things that I do that I know Charmaine don't like, and there is things that Charmaine does that I don't like, and we just use one to tick off the other, and then we just get along. So if she turned around and said, "Oh, did you have to do that?" I said, "Well, you didn't have to do that, neither, did you?" And then it all works out, because there is no such thing as argument. There is debates, but arguments are not healthy. Debates are healthy, because if you're arguing, right? You believe you're right, the other person believes they're right, and it ends up as a stalemate. But if you debate, then you can come to a decision and a conclusion based on what you're debating.
Yeah.
So it all balances itself out.
And also communication as well, talking to each other. So we're a family of talkers, we're always talking about something. Just to have that open communication. So even if you can't communicate it verbally, put it in writing, and we try not to. If something's bothering us, we try and talk about it. But we have different styles. So if Mark is more direct, if I've got on his nerves or we hear something to say, he will rather say it. Whereas I will like fester and be quiet for a while, and then I will say it. So he'll ask me, "What's wrong?" I'll be like, "No, I'm fine." And then he'll be like, "What's wrong?" "I'm fine." And then it'll take a while for me to say it. But with Mark could just say it. So it's like yin and yang. We both work together.
Yeah, because I ain't got time to carry baggage. If it's there, I just say it while it's there. I'm not gonna let it fester for 2 weeks and then 2 weeks later. You remember 2 weeks when you? No, sorry.
No, it's not that bad.
Yeah, just get it out there, deal with it, and move on. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the other thing as well. We've agreed not to keep bringing up madness from the past. Because if you bring up madness from the past, you're just going back on stuff that you should have moved on from longest time. So. And also,
sis, we can't hear your mic, so you might have to come in slightly together. Whether the mic is not picking, it's picking up Mark easily, but it's not. Just come over slightly. We can just so that we can make sure that we get your voice through the mic. Because just go ahead.
So we basically became friends from first. We were really friends, into each other. Dating was like comedy shows, cracking joke, laughing. We met. Where did we meet?
We met at my workplace.
Yeah, we met at work. I was on a work placement.
Yeah.
And Mark was working.
I was on a slave ship.
And I wasn't even looking for a relationship. I was in a relationship at the time, and I wasn't even looking for a relationship. I just made friends.
I wasn't looking for a relationship, and then she smiled at me like, "Hi." It was just pure tea, and I was like, "Okay, that's a nice smile. Are you fancy going to lunch?" Yeah, and then the rest is history.
That's nice.
That's how it works a lot of the time, I tell ya.
Yeah, I shot myself. I was like, where did that come from? Okay. Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Spirit tech you. A spirit tech you, no.
Yeah, I don't know what took me. Always tease the master that you owe me.
Oh yeah, because I cooked her a meal one time and I bring it in.
That would do it. That would do it.
What was it? Banana porridge.
It was the ackee and saltfish.
Ackee and saltfish.
The fried dumpling.
The fried dumpling.
Oh, you can cook it. I was like, really?
We can't hear you still.
Yeah. You can hear me, right? You can't hear her. Yeah.
Can you shift over slightly, Mark? If you shift over where you are, you shift over a little bit. That's it. Together. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, so he said to, so we was talking as we do, and he said, "Oh, I can cook." And I was like, "Really? You can cook?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can cook. I said, "Okay, right then. Bring me something for lunch tomorrow." So he goes, "Okay, I'll cook you some ackee and saltfish and fried dumpling." I'm like, "Okay." And then the next day he bought the ackee and saltfish and fried dumpling, and I was like, "This is nice. This is very nice." Cook then.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was enough because I love my food. I love my food.
Foodies.
I love my food.
She's not a fan of porridge. She's not a fan of porridge, but when I made her that banana porridge, that was it.
That was nice. Yeah. And then we and he was just like a mentor to me when we first got together. Friendship crisis, things, and then he used to just be very direct and tell me things like, "Wow, oh my gosh, nobody's ever said that to me before," and give me direct advice. With Mark, he don't hold back. He just tells you how it is, and I was like,
too short.
I was like,
that's so refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was good because Mark just talks the truth, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and what irritates me about him, he's always right. So yeah.
Who's that irritable? That should be a blessing.
No.
Amen.
Like the Mystic Megan, I'm like, how did you know? So,
Yeah, because a lot of things is through experience. I'm a little bit older than her, you see.
Yeah,
just a little bit. I met her when I was 12.
Ever.
And she was 10.
So look, if we're talking about the dynamics of relationships and also about your work, you know, what principles, I suppose, when you know, it's quite obvious, you know, that your relationship, you know, there's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of joy, you know, there's a lot of dialogue between you that makes it workable. But what principles do you need for yourselves in order to work closely together? Because it's one thing to be in a relationship together, it's another thing to work really closely with each other. And so, you know, I suppose we would like to know, and those who are listening would like to know, you know, what does it take, you know, to be work husband and work wife?
To be husband and wife
and working together
takes a whole load of discipline, in the sense that you have to put the rules down and stick to them and try not to break them in order to make everything work. So again, it's to do with a work and life balance, where sometimes we forget ourselves. We forget that we got 3 girls here waiting for us, and we're on the work, and then you have to take a stop and check yourself and go back to the principles that you put down in order to make the work and the relationship gel together. And when one starts to stray off, the other one will tell the other one. It's normally me telling her though, but yeah, you know what I mean.
And when you say that, how do you receive each other's advice, or, you know, what you need to do, where you need to check each other in on different things? How do you receive that?
I'm quite stubborn.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm quite stubborn.
Okay.
So
quite being the operative word in the sentence.
No. Yeah, you're too bad. Leave me alone. So he knows that I'm a type of person that's just focused on work, and then Mark will be like, "Sure, no, you need." I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. No, you need. So he's like,
"No, you need to. No, you need to." Sorry.
Make sure I rest. So he knows I'm very focused and I work hard and very dedicated. And if I've got a goal, I'm determined to achieve that goal. And then sometimes I also burn the candle at both ends. So Mark will be like, "No, Charmaine, you just kind of rest yourself." So yeah.
And then sometimes there is, certain things you just have to put down to experience. No matter how much you explain to someone, this is what's going to happen if it doesn't happen, and they don't hear. So the old African proverb comes, "All don't hear will feel." But sometimes I will try and explain as a million times based on my experiences and what I've seen, because there's a lot of things that she hasn't experienced that I've experienced. And when I see history repeating itself, I will warn her, no. But sometimes she just don't hear, stubborn, so she has to go through it, and then she comes back and say, "All right, you were right again." You know what I mean? But that's how it works, in the sense of keeping a check and making sure that we've got each other's back.
Yeah.
We can't hear you. Sorry.
So when we first started doing the business, Mark was ill during that time as well, so we both had to work as a team. So we was working. There was periods of time when Mark was in hospital and the business still had to run, so we had to manage that. We've had our 3 children during that time, as well as running the business as well, and working full time and other things that have been going on as well. So we've had to be able to find balance and work together. There would be no way we couldn't do the work. There's no way we couldn't do the work that we do without having balance and also working together as a team, because it does require us to work together. We've often said if one of us was doing the business, we'll probably hardly see each other, because we're very focused and committed to the work that we do and community work we do. So it's good that we can work together as a team and involve our whole family as well. So our children are always with us when we do our business. They are very invested their time in the business. They love what we do. My parents as well support the work that we do. My little brother and sister and other extended family members support the work that we do, and they enable us to do the work that we do as well. And that also helps us as in our relationship as well, because we know we do so much work, other people. We don't often stop and take time to do stuff for ourselves. So this year we actually went away for 10 days. I went to Benicassim, the reggae Watotom Reggae Festival, and it was just me and Mark together, just relaxing for 10 days, listening to reggae music and relaxing on the beach, which was really good, just to refocus and focus on us, because a lot of time we're just working. We don't really spend quality time with each other, which is very important in a relationship, especially with children as well.
Absolutely. That quality time is like priceless, 100%. Just sort of touching on something that you said, when you guys were already in your relationship, and then a year before you got married, no, a year after you got married, the business started. How did that actually started? Was it one that was doing something prior, and then you both kind of decided, okay, let's set up this particular business? How did you both agree on this business?
Funny, we both saw a course.
Yeah.
There was a course that we both went. Was I just scratching myself on TV? Lord have mercy.
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything.
What I was picking at my nose, isn't it?
Real life.
We both did a course.
Yeah, together.
The course was really, really good. And then it was so good, we done it again, right? And what we realized is information that we got on the course, it wasn't common knowledge. When we spoke to other people about it, they was like, no, they don't know nothing about this, don't know nothing about that. So we just decided there and then, we should invest certain monies and start up this business, because what we're hearing, it has empowered us two together. So just imagine how much more people it could empower, especially our people that need this information. And that's what we did. We I was at a certain organization. I'm not going to mention their name because I know them watching, right? And they kind of made me redundant, and I won a tribunal against them and all the rest of it. And every penny I got from them, I just took it and put it into the business. So we've never had any funding or anything like that. I took the money that we got, we put into the business. Charmaine put her expertise and hard work into it as well, and that was the combination. She did a lot of stuff, I did a lot of stuff, and basically we believed that the reason why the business was started is because it was a box that needed to be ticked, in the sense that a gap that needed to be filled, so to speak. There was a gap there amongst our people, I would say, and that gap needed to be filled. And we thought, well, rather than wait for anybody else to do it, we'll do it ourselves.
So you both had the same information, you had the same experience, the same similar vision, so you made that joint decision together to move forward and spread the word to our people, basically.
And it was an easy decision, because we both were passionate about Black history and Black studies, and we would have debates and discussions, and we'll go out to speak to other people. They'd be like, what are you talking about, Charmaine? I'm like, no, we need to get this information out there. And that's what we did. We just kept focused on getting the information out there. So we started with courses. Then we eventually went into, we did presentations as well. Then we went into film screenings using our community cinema program and did film screenings. Then we started doing workshops, different places. We wrote books to get the information out there. Mark wrote music and performed music. So very different ways we try to get the information
we do international tours as well. So we do tours to Moorish Spain, Portugal, Black France, Black Amsterdam, Egypt.
It was sort of a family holiday to Spain.
Yeah.
And as everywhere we go, we always make friends, because we personality and people just like us. And talking to the guy, we booked for an excursion. I was on the coach. everybody was sleeping on the couch apart from us. Was sitting there taking notes when the guy was talking, and he goes, "Oh, are you interested in what we're doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is like in history. Why wouldn't we be interested?" And we just started talking to him, and we basically
he did say because all of the rest of the Africans are sleeping.
Yeah, and then we were just there, like, you know what? Let's start talking, and that's how we started our Spain tour.
Yeah. And we had him as the guide for a good few years.
Yeah.
He's about 76 now, so he's retired. Yeah. So the Spain tour is on
hold for now.
It's on hold for now. We're trying to work out something. But that was a very popular tour because a lot of people don't realize how much African history is in Europe. Yeah. Hence why we do Black Paris and Black Amsterdam as well.
Yeah. And then we one of my best friends, I was, as you do, talking about what we up to and business, and she worked for a travel company. She's like, "Oh, I know a gentleman that you need to meet. He does tours in Egypt." I was like, "What? Come on, make a meeting." We sat down, instantly clicked with the brother. We liked him. We liked what he did.
Yeah, big up George.
Yeah, George Nassim. Have to bring him up as well. And then we just basically formed a partnership with him, and we do our Egypt tours with him, and it's just been going well.
Off as once a year. We're now doing it twice a year. Which is really good.
Wow. It's just such, like, I could literally sit down and like listen to you guys talk like all night. It's just such a phenomenal experience that you've had so far, and I'm sure yet to come as well. But in terms of that sort of common ground that you started on and how you've built on it since then, do you think it would have been any different if, I don't know, say only one of you had gone to that course, for example, and the other one hadn't had that same experience in that same room, or, you know, maybe one was more community focused than the other? Do you think it potentially would have turned out any differently?
Well, with this type of work, just like Asante Shukio said, you can't have but be a revolutionary woman with a reactionary man. It can't work. So we could never have done the work that we do if we weren't on the same page. It's not going to work. Because if Mark was if I was at home watching Coronation Street and EastEnders and Mark was on the streets doing Black liberation work, it would not work. It would not work at all. So we had to be on the same page. And it was funny because I found the course, booked on the course, and I was like, "Oh, there's this course. Do you want to come with me?" And it's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, let's go." And we just worked together. And I've always encouraged him, if I'm doing something, always encourage him to get involved. So there's hardly any time that we're not doing something together. We're always together. If me and Mark are not together, then me and the children are together, or Mark and the children are together. Or if he's not there, he knows what I'm doing. So we're always communicating what each other is doing, and I help him as well. So Mark is into music. I'm not musical minded, but I support him with his music. I do other community work. Mark supports me with that. So we're trying to support each other in various different areas because Mark has strengths that I don't have, and and I work on that. So I'm improving over the years through the help of Mark. And Mark, there's things that there's things that he doesn't feel confident in. So he will encourage me to do that. So we try and work on each other's strengths, and it's worked.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's not everything we agree on either.
No.
No. So sometimes I just have to say, all right, you know, they say, let them go, and if them love you, then we'll come back. So sometimes Charmaine has to experience certain things in order for it to get in, because it doesn't matter how much times I repeat it over and over again. Sometimes you have to live it and see it in order for it to sink in. So it's not everything that we agree on, but again, that's where the compromise comes in, and the discipline, etc.
We was having a debate about Robert Mugabe and Zimbabwe the other day. You would have thought that we was there having a full-on debate about that, because we disagreed on certain points. People often think that
Charmaine disagreed with me on certain points. Yeah. But all I kept on saying was, right, because there were certain things that were said, and all I kept on saying was, but where did you get the information from? Argument done. So well, no, but it's a compromise. It's a compromise.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You guys were actually leading into what I would like to know, because I mentioned briefly about you know, even myself, I've gone through a separation with my husband, so I know how challenging it can be
Get out of
working through
here.
difficulties and even splitting up and coming back together and what that feels like.
Yeah.
How do you guys deal with your conflict? Because you know we all have them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you know some are more serious than others. Sometimes we're in better mind frame to deal with them. Sometimes we have support around us, and sometimes we don't have the necessary support to talk sense into us, kind of thing. But in terms of, I suppose, even some of your own founded principles, have that helped you through your conflicts? And I suppose, how do you actually deal with your conflicts?
Look, we just deal with it there and then. Nothing doesn't go over a day or two.
No.
I might be vexed with her for a day, and then she come in, all right, and then that's it. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So
It's hard. It's hard to stay vexed with Mark.
That is
hard, very hard.
He's so humorous, ain't he?
No, but that is part of the compromise, in the sense that we know that we're not going to agree on everything, and then there is certain things that you conflict on and all the rest of it. But what we do know for a fact is that one, arguing don't solve nothing, so we take it more on a debate level, and two, anything that's left 2 or 3 days to fester is not worth even going back to, because it will just start back where it was before. Try and get it out of the way within the 2 days, and then we move on. That is a rule. That's a rule, because there is more important things than what you're sometimes debating about.
Was that
And
something
when you say rules, what other rules do you I suppose put in place for your relationship to work?
So, for example, if like Mark can get on my nerves at this time, and
really,
yes, you do get on my nerves, and I know I get on his nerves.
At the first, me, I hear this.
No, go away. I know I get on his nerves, he gets on my nerves, but I will say it, he will say it, and it probably gets dealt with. And there's things that sometimes I get vexed and I don't say nothing for a bit, and we just individually take our little time out, and then we come back and then it just gets dealt with.
Yeah. But the rules and regulations in terms of conflict is to deal with it there and then. Don't let nothing fester, and don't dwell on the past or things that's happened in the past and bring it back into contemporary argument, because that doesn't help either. And don't try and win the argument. Base everything on the facts that's in front of you. It's not about winning, it's about solving the problem. And then once the problem is solved, because we might have to agree to disagree on certain things. Robert McGarvey. Might have to agree to disagree on quite a few things. But the fact of the matter is, we don't let it spill over where it comes to a point where it's disturbing, so to speak, where other people are affected by it, or malice, or no.
Yeah,
but then what you're saying is that you're making a point of disagreeing agreeably.
Yeah. On certain things, because nothing is more important than the relationship, especially when there's children involved. So you have to.
We've got 3 daughters.
Sorry, can't hear you.
We've got 3 daughters. So one of the rules and we have enough, and I don't want us to be arguing and carrying on in front of children. So they feel that is something normal, that parents are arguing and carrying on and shouting at each other. No, we don't do that. And we don't belittle each other in front of the children as well. And we keep it a positive relationship, because that's what we often see. Husband and wife fall out, or boyfriend and girlfriend fall out, but then they're trying to make each person trying to make one of each other pick fights, and it's not a good environment to raise your children in. So if we do have debates, it's not in front of the children, we just deal with it one time, and then it gets squashed, because half the time any debates we have, can we remember half the debates that we have? No, because it's not nothing major. It's nothing major.
And do you think there's a difference between debating and arguing? What if people, because look, we're coming from a community where consciousness, we love a good debate, don't we? And so you know, debating then becomes, you know, there's a thin line between debate and arguing, and I think at different times, and maybe between you as a couple have worked out what that line is. Tell us a bit about that.
The line is don't be stubborn in the debate where you know that the person acknowledge you understand what the person is talking about, rather than trying to put your side across to counteract what they're saying. You know what they're saying is right. Because if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm the first one to hold up my hand and say, okay, I'm wrong. When it becomes an argument is when somebody, so see, when we're debating, Charmaine will tell you, because it's my favorite line, you can't say yes and but in the same sentence. And you can't say no and but in the same sentence. No means you agreed with what I said. Yes means you agreed with what I said. But when you say yes and but, it's a contradictory term. So straight away, the debate has to be put to one side, because you're agreeing with me, but you're still trying to put your argument across. It can't work. So that's the thin line that we don't cross in terms of things. But it goes back to what you were saying in what we saying in the beginning, when you said that you like the fact that we teach, we do parents and family courses and all the rest of it. If we could get our hands on all of the parents that's out there, we wouldn't need to school the children. Does that make sense? Because the children are usually a replica of the parents. So
100%.
Yeah, so we try and put out an outlook, an image of ourselves that we would want other people to replicate, rather than. Does that make sense? So we base everything on.
You want to be the model. You want to be the model for your children and for the community. Then.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's no point putting out these courses for couples and then you're not representing what it is you want to give.
Right.
It makes sense. Right. Talk the talk, walk the walk.
Yeah,
of course.
And I've always said unity starts in the homes. We can't be talking about being a community together, community building. If our home life is in disarray, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
it doesn't
I completely agree. Is that something? So some of these skills that you're talking about that help with conflict resolution, is this? Would you say these are skills that you developed perhaps in your adult life, or would you say that these are skills that you probably grew up around, that you adapted to? Because I know, coming from my background, born in Jamaica, and even over here in the circle I grew up around myself, once me vex with you, me not talk to your face sometime. You know, I see that in my home. I see that, you know, and I know I had to work very hard as an individual to overcome some of those challenges and develop new skills. So what would you say it was for you?
It's a combination of both, really. There's living and learning in there, right? There is understanding your history in there as well, because you will see that a lot of things that we are going through is a legacy of enslavement in terms of how we deal with certain things, and then a lot of things that we try to show in the way we do our things is based on what we've grown up and seen. So we've always seen, I can speak for myself here, I can't necessarily speak on Charmaine's level, but I grew up around parents being together and the family being the core and most important thing within the relationship. And the fact that mum and dad would have conflicts, but hardly not when we was young, and when we was a little bit older, the conflicts would come out. But you are adult now, so, and they would ask our advice on what you think and whatever. So those things that we've tried to implement within our relationship and improve on them as well, and discard what's not needed. Does that make sense?
It does.
Absolutely.
And you make a step. Sorry, say that again.
I
can't hear you.
I worked in youth work for a number of years. So I'm used to
youth work, right.
Yeah, been a youth worker for a number of years. So I'm used to dealing with young people and conflict resolution. So a lot of those skills I've got, and I've been in a lot of customer facing businesses. So dealing with difficult people, that's like one of my fortes.
I hear that. So you said something, Mark, you said something, and I wanted to, raise that. You spoke about the legacy of enslavement. How do you feel? We're talking about conflict resolution, but, when people are dealing with each other from a place of a legacy of enslavement, what do you think, as Black History Studies couple, is, for you, the kind of question then for you to answer, I suppose? How do you see that legacy of enslavement shows up in our relationships, in our conflict resolution or conflict?
All right, then. I'll give you a perfect example. Is a lot of the things that we think is historical and cultural and pertaining to us is things that were forced upon us during enslavement. But because we don't know the history, we believe that that's how it always was, right? So we ingrain these things. But I'll give you a perfect example, my sister. You being born in Jamaica, the way that we discipline our children sometimes. There is no need. There is no need to brutalize the child. There is so much other things you could do before you reach that stage. Yeah, but that's a legacy enslavement in the sense that what we used to do back in the enslavement period was discipline our own children, so that master didn't have to discipline the child, because if master disciplines the child might not come back. Does that make sense? So the way we deal with our children now, we'd rather deal with them in a certain way so the authorities don't have to deal with them, because as you can see, based on what history tells us, if the authorities deal with our children, sometimes they don't come back as well. I mean, that's just one example. Another example is of how relationships is supposed to work. So a lot of Pan-Africanists out there I've had debates with, and they totally disagree with me, but me not here. I say it anyway. That's why at a lot of the events you will see CHARMAINE there, and you won't see me, because if I hear foolishness, I have to challenge it, right? And one of the I'm not saying this because I've got 5 daughters and sisters and all that type of stuff, right? In my opinion, a lot of the problems that we have as a people is because the black man don't understand the black woman, right? And the black woman don't understand the black man, right? But what the black man needs to understand is that the black woman is the mother of creation, right? And she should always be treated as a queen, right? And the only way you can become king, Mr. Prince, is to marry that queen. Does that make sense? So in the sense of how it works, what went through the another legacy of enslavement is that the man is sovereign, is the man is the top. The man, no, it doesn't work like that. In an African society, based on the history that I know, right, it was always matriarchal, and it's only when Europeans came in and changed this and changed that, it became a patriarchal society. And this patriarchy, the black man has taken up. It's got nothing to do with him. He's taken it up and he's taken it on his head, which then puts the black woman under him. I can't deal with that. I've got mothers, I've got sisters, I've got daughters, I've got nieces, and I've got a whole heap of friends that are female, right? And when I speak to them on this level, when I speak to certain men on this level, they say, yeah, that is true. But that's another legacy of enslavement that will cause conflict, because the man has a little less respect for the woman than he's supposed to. That can't work. Sorry. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And I think, you speak to the heart of what, a lot of men may or may not say. And if you looking at a patriarchal society that is taken on by the men in our society, and it's not ours to take on, you're dealing with then, the ramifications of something like that is things like what they call misogynoir. So misogynists, black men who are misogynists, acting like they love the black woman, but there's a hate, there's an upset, there's a upset with their mother, there's stuff, and so that shows up through their relationships or relationships dynamics with women, not even wanting your own woman from your own community. That in itself is another conversation. So when you say what you're saying, it's important what you're saying. I mean, it happens to be you speaking from the Black History Studies as a couple, but what you're saying stands alone in what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because it's necessary to say we are evolving beings, and you know, things are shifting. And when you talk about the shift, you know, of relationships, or the dynamics of relationships, or even look at the polarity of the male and female, you know, male and female knowing their position, not their place, but their position, and their order and their hierarchy. And it's, you know, and recognizing Charmaine, you know, to be the mother of civilization and revering her as such is honorable. So, you know, wow, that's great.
And the other thing as well, just to add to that, because the women ain't gonna get off scot-free as well, because the women are in that mindset as well. So the key to all of this is not even so much knowing your position. Knowing your position is one thing, but knowing thyself is more important. Because if I know myself, I will know who is my brother and who is not my brother. And if I know myself, I will know who is a queen from who is not a queen. And it's the same thing with the sisters. If they know themselves, they will know that they were born queens. They were born empresses. They were born to rule kingdoms and empires. And by knowing themselves, they will know which sister needs to get ostracized. Because that's what we need to do on a certain level as well, is part ourselves from certain things, because there's only so much things you can do to help people. You can't help people that don't want to help themselves. Does that make sense? If they're showing that they want to help themselves, we will have all the time in the world for you. But if you keep, as they say in church, backsliding, there's nothing we can do for you. You can only, what's the saying? You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Does that make sense? So we can do as much as possible to get you on that level, but you have to take the next step. So the more people know themselves, the more they see each other the way they see themselves. They can recognize themselves in other people, and that's where the unity comes in. Because unity is part of the word community, common unity. And for us to all get along and all the rest of it and organize, we have to have a common unity, and that is knowledge. Knowledge of self brings all of that. Hence why we're doing Black History Studies as well.
So, I mean, can you go on, Charmaine? Sorry, so go ahead, say.
Well, just linking of organization and the female role in organization. So I'm seen as the head of Black History Studies, but you'd often don't see that women speaking up and talking about things in the community as the head of an organization. It's usually very male focused. So I'm like, say, for example, there's been examples where we've gone to events and I have been ignored because I'm the woman, and they've gone straight to Mark. And Mark is like, no, you need to go and speak to my wife. And they're like, oh, but I want to speak to you. No, you need to go and speak to my wife. So we've got to be looking at empowering both in the relationship, because sometimes, depending on what circles you're moving in, the only time you see the women is when they're at the front door, collecting the money, serving the food, and that's it. No, we must bring the woman up and put her in positions as well to speak out. And that's what you have to do in relationships as well. You can't just have one speaking all the time and being ignored. You have to have the voice for both of them, and everybody has an equal part to play.
The thing, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, the reason why us as a people are in trouble and downtrodden all around the world, the reason why the continent of Africa is the way it is at the moment, because the women have been moved from their natural power. And until they're replaced back in that power, they're going to be in trouble. This is why we need to empower each other more so, putting them on the pedestal, in the sense that if she's out there and she's doing the right thing, she needs to be commended for that.
And recognized as well.
And recognized, because I could easily have stood at the forefront of Black History Studies and all the rest of it. Charmaine was going to make me CEO. We was going to do CEO. I said, no, you take the CEO. I'll be operations. I don't business. Because for me, the titles ain't important. What is important is that you recognize the work that we're doing and recognize Charmaine's role in the work. Because that's the with a lot of the Pan-Africanist organizations as well. They say that they're African and this and all the rest of it. If that's the case, you would be uplifting your women and not downtrodden them, using the patriarchal method of thinking rather than the matriarchal method of thinking. No, because they don't understand that the African society is a matriarchal society, and in order for us to get back where we was, we need to recognize that we need to put the women then back in place.
And when you say that, when you talk about matriarchal society, look, I can completely understand when you talk about that. You've got different, you know, the Songhai. You've got different times when women, you know, were ruling, but you've also got times where, you know, if we're looking at it in modern day times.
Oh, did you mention Songhai, sis? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time the Songhai Empire were coming out, it already changed. It was pre-Songhai, the matriarchal system. By the time Songhai came in, Arabs had been in North Africa for about 500-600 years, right? And it's even worse than that. And the rule had totally changed over to the man being the sovereign and the woman being the consort. Where before Songhai, for argument's sake, ancient Ghana, ancient whatever, yeah, we had kings, we had emperors in ancient Ghana, but the most powerful people within that empire or within that kingdom was the queen mother, followed by the queen's sister, then the queen. Does that make sense? And then every female born into that household was born a queen, every male was born a prince, and the prince had to marry the queen to become king. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So until people understand that, it's but all of the history books will tell you that it was always a matriarchal society on the continent of Africa until around the 12th century. There's me getting all historical.
And look, I mean, this is obviously quite important and integral to what I hear is it's quite integral to your relationship. It's one of the foundations and principles of your relationship that has you be so passionate about it. So what I would say to that, because it's, to some people, it'd be a very, very new concept. Yeah, very new. They'll hear it many thousands of times and talk about the goddess, the sister, the talk all day long. Yeah. What I hear is that you are, you know, literally living that principle inside of your relationship. Now, if you look at it, let's say let's fast forward now, and we move to a matriarchal society right now. Yeah. That the challenge of that, how do you think then, and this is obviously a forward future question, and you know, I'm sure you're future thinkers and visionaries anyway, but how do you see that could potentially, what structure could we have in place, what could be put in place to have that be a reality?
Oh, good question.
Education would have to be one of the pillars from young. Education of our children to know who they are, giving them guidance in terms of leadership as well, managing their own affairs, self-determination. That will be one of the tenets, what would need to be done. And also understand what is the role of the woman. What is the role of the woman within this whole structure? Because women have a lot to offer, but a lot of us, our young people don't know what is their role in life and what is their life purpose. What are you meant to be doing as a woman, or what are you meant to be doing as a man? But and you can go, but then there's another debate: what are male defined roles and what are we females defined roles? So, for example, our household is quite different because Mark is such a master chef, so he does majority of the cooking in the house. I do majority of the cleaning in the house. Usually, it's the woman that does the majority of the cooking in the house. In a typical relationship, so we got to be looking at how that works for individual person.
Relationship.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in terms of answering your question as well, you're saying how would it look like the print in terms of Marcus Garvey? That print is already out there. I remember the name of the book. The Sharp wrote one, and Sheikh Anta Diop wrote one. And the books were basically on principles of an African society pre-colonial, pre-enslavement. So for us to understand what we need to get at, we just need to study Africa before the invasions, before the kidnapping and all the rest of it. And you will see a structure was there that worked. This is what I tell a lot of our, sorry to cut you, this is what I tell a lot of our students when we're doing the courses. I say to them, gone out of my head now, I say to them, it will come back to me. What was talking about the
matriarchal society.
yeah,
how to
so
put it in place.
how to put it in place. I say to them, in order for the things to work, right, we need to look at what was going on in the society pre-enslavement, pre-colonial rule. It will come.
And then use that information. Look at how we can use that information. There's a lot of things happening across the use information.
Sorry, speak. I can't hear you.
Yeah, so basically, use the information from the past to define our future. So that's what we try to teach issue studies. Learn from the past to get a future. So what happened in the past? Take the business that we work, bring it into modern times. Look at how we can build upon that and use that as a foundation for the future. Because a lot of times we think that if we reinvent the wheel, we don't have to reinvent the wheel because as Mark says, the is there. We just look at what didn't leave what didn't work back in the past and bring it towards the future, and then modernize it with technology and this resources that we have.
Bring it up to date. Look at what works. Look at what doesn't work. Discard what that doesn't work. Use what works, and bring technology into it and balance it. But go and deal with that. There's text, there's information there, and maybe that's something. I mean, here you might have heard it here first, but that may be something to deliver. Because if you two are a couple who are operating from that matriarchal principle, who else better to learn it from? Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah. We've been asked many a time to do like relationship events and things. I'm like, really? But yeah, we do.
But the matriarchal principle is very important because you're bringing a whole nother element to it. I mean, you just take the conversation to another level. Because the conversation now, it's you can't talk about the dynamics, particular dynamics. It shuts off all that kind of matriarchal thought.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to rewire yourself for a conversation like this. This is, it's like many are called, few are chosen. This is a conversation for big folks, grown folks. Yeah. And so, it will take something for us to be grown up enough. Yeah. Because when we look at our relationships, because of slavery and the impact of it, it does mean that our relationships are in our infantile stage. It means that we haven't had, that kind of continuity, that other races may have had. And it means then that we're not in a position where we can say, well, let's draw on that person, like other races can. Even down to the arranged marriage, which arranged marriages are, statistically, the most successful, which was a principle that we owned ourselves, So when you say what you're saying, it resonates, over here because we are so infantile, and part of our infantile behavior is this patriarchal society, and the patriarchal context that we bring into relationship.
Yeah, it's come back to me. Exactly what I was going to say now. I used to say to my students, in terms of how things used to work, before our journey was interrupted, ancient Ghana, 1,500 years of rule, Songhai Empire, 1,000 years, 1,200 years, or whatever it was, Ancient Egypt, over 10,000 years of rule. Does that make sense? And then after that period, it was interrupted, and then it's got Western rule. Western rule, sorry, I'm putting my hands too close. The Western rule is approximately 480 to 500 years, and as we can see already, it's crumbling. So that alone would show you that the way that we were running things before should be the way that we need to get back to. But in order for it to get back to it, people need to know themselves, right? Because there's a lot of us out there that are considered Pan-Africanists and considered this and considered that. And they are living in a it's a European Western type of thinking that they plan to use to justify their Africanness. It's not going to work. That's like pouring oil on water. It will just stay on the surface. Nothing is going to penetrate in. And who is it that said it? It's Minister Farrakhan, I heard say it the other day, actually. He said that Elijah Muhammad said to him, when you plant the seed grows downwards into the ground first before anything can shoot up. So the roots and the foundation has to be solid before anything can start to grow. But this is what people need to realize. In order to get to grow, you need to dig deep. Does that make sense? Yeah, and once we start doing that, we will have the respect for the woman that needs. The woman will acknowledge the respect and know herself, and then it will become a very productive circle where it's continuous and the chain can't be unbroken, and anything that's in that circle will thrive and survive and grow, even, in my opinion.
I mean, that's really beautiful. And I think going back to some of the, the questions that, I think people will want to know from you, given the context and what you say, even down here at the baseline level, what do you feel, and I respect wholeheartedly, your methods, the practices that you're bringing into to your relationship. It's very dynamic, and that is part of its, its strength. It's quite clear. But what would you say that the true nature and purpose of a relationship is?
Yeah, we asked that question.
The true nature and purpose of relationship.
Sorry, say that again.
So when you ask that question, I thought about two individuals coming together, working together, and creating together, and having a long-term goal together. You must have shared goals together. We always, every year, we do something for goal planning. So we sit down and work what we want to do for the year, whether it's the business, personal life, what do you want to do with the children. We always have a common goal. We're always working together towards a common goal. And we all have individual goals. Are we going to support each other with our individual goals as well? And constantly looking together and looking at ways of improving ourselves in order to improve our relationship and improve our family. Always looking at self-improvement as well, and not staying static. We are dynamic beings. We should be learning and growing each day, and that's what you should be doing in a relationship. Purpose of relationship is to come together and look at how we can plan, how two individuals can plan their future together and change the world around them.
And can I just simplify that? In my opinion, the relationship coming together is based on the legacy that you leave. So your legacy has to be, right, setting a better path for your children to then take on and then pass on. Because I always take things back to nature. And if you look at nature, all of the animals that run free or whatever in nature, their main and number one purpose is to make sure that their offspring, their children, their kids, the whatever, survive and thrive. Does that make sense? And be in a better position than they was. It's your duty to lay that path and your responsibility. So the relationship should be brought together in order for, because they say more hands make lighter work, or however the saying goes. So if it's me doing it by myself, hence the single parent argument, then a single parent doing it by herself, she's going to need, or he's going to need, support around them in order to help their children grow. But if there's two of us in a relationship, it's a lot easier to do. And then you have the community around you to help raise the child. And it's all about passing on best of best to the children. That, in my opinion, that's what a relationship it should be based on. Can't hear you, sis.
Yeah, look, the principles that you adhere to, it really makes sense, and bringing the best, bringing the best, if you like, the best versions of yourself, being the best of the best for each other, that continue, that you both continue to grow, which is what you're constantly doing. There's very little, because you're an innovative couple, there's very little room, what I hear, for stagnation.
Yes.
Yeah, for you, there's seems to be no room for it, if anything, it's like one big adventure.
Yeah,
Sounds like, right? Which is great, because that's what a lot of relationships are lacking. A lot of them have become very kind of monotone, baseline, predictable, know what's going to happen tomorrow. And the great thing about the work that you're doing together, it's always ever changing, it's ever evolving, and it's a service. Yeah, so you feel it's a meaningful relationship, it has purpose. It's not just kind of like, you know, two people trying to get their groove on. Do you know what I mean? And hoping that things work out. It's two people who are clearly focused on, you know, an aligned vision, an aligned goal, and working always seem to be working towards maintaining that balance.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's, you know, checking in with each other, checking each other, like when you're talking about rest, and even that conversation. I mean, you know, a question might be to you, you know, how is it that you look after each other? You know, I get that when you say, you know, she needs to rest and she's working, you know, tirelessly. How do you look after each other?
Yeah. So how do you look after me?
Me cook good food for you and make her eat it. No, it's about in terms of health and well-being, it's about seeing the signs and making sure that it's communicated at the earliest point and pushed that things should be done. And in terms of life in general, it's just to be there and support as much as possible, advise as much as possible, and, you know, be compatible with what each other's trying to do, in my opinion. Yeah. Okay.
And how do I look after you?
How do you? What do you tell me then, innit?
So I support you with the work that you do. Make sure that you're well. Look after the family. Make sure that the family is well as well, and also look out for the signs. So, because there's times when you're not well, and I have to take a more of a lead. And there's times when I've got so much on there, I have to take a step back, and you take on the role of
so
managing things.
it's about doing things as a team.
Yeah.
In everything that we
Teamwork.
do, we do it as a team. Sometimes one part of the team is on one side of the world and the other part's on the other side of the world, but because we have that cohesion, we have that bond, that linkage, 99% out of the times it works and it runs smoothly because we're so tuned into each other, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, we try our best to look after each other in the best way possible. Oh, you got to have a laugh.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
And we have to have a laugh as well. Can't take life too seriously sometimes.
Do you know what?
It can be very
Exactly. I think we underestimate the power of the humor between, you know, between couples, and even sitting back and watching you guys and just seeing how you naturally bounce off each other, and, you know, the laughter is the music to the soul.
You can't even see her hands right now.
No behavior.
Keep the romance alive, right? Do you know what? I watched a video with Will Smith and Jada, and they basically shared how, you know, when they're on sets, they go and take some private time together, and, you know, constantly, you know, just squeezing in that little time for each other. So, you know, like, who am I to comment on where Charmaine's hands at the moment?
But that's why we have always laughing, even because there's times when I'm stressed or something getting on my nerves, and Mark would just make me laugh with his madness, and we just like, oh my gosh. I remember giving birth, trying to zone and concentrate and giving birth, and then Mark is there cracking joke, and I'm trying to laugh and at the same time, I'm Mark, you're not helping. And then I'm just waking up like, what is wrong with this man? I'm like trying to focus here. Just to keep my mind off the pain, but it's good. We have to laugh, because a lot of the work that we do is quite serious. It can be quite heavy, stressful, and it's just like, you know what, we have to laugh sometimes.
Sometimes sometimes even driving home from a class, I will see some of our people on the road, and it does upset me. I do get upset just to see what they're carrying on with, or the state that they're in, or the position that they're in, and all the rest of it. It does hurt me. I know it doesn't have to be like that. You still have, you just have to laugh and make sure that, because if you don't, you just get depressed, and you won't be able to do the work to the best of its ability. So certain things you just have to discard. And I was on. I'll give you a perfect example of that. I was on Radio London on Dotun Adebayo's show on Sunday. It was a very good show. They was discussing the enslavement of Africans in Libya, and Africans being sold in Libya, which is the big story that CNN bust last week. And one of the questions that was asked is, what would be, with what's going on, what would be the best thing for us to do right now, right? And I said, is to gain knowledge of self. That is the number one priority. And then the second priority after that is to work towards global unification. There was about 4 other guests in the studio that jumped on me and disagreed. No, we've got to go and help the people that are out there. And it's not just Libya. It's Mauritania, it's Congo, it's Nigeria, it's Zimbabwe, it's loads of different places. So which one are we going to choose to go and help, right? And then I said to them as well that you can't go to a gunfight with a knife in your hand. These people that we're dealing with are skilled at what they do. That's why we're in the position we are in, and that's why we've been there for the last 350, 400 years. So what we need to do, once we know ourselves, we can unify globally, because they've done a good job to keep us separated. So all of these things play into to how we are as a people. So in my opinion, once you have the knowledge of self, you can know how to deal with certain stresses, and know how relationships are supposed to work, know how to talk to people and advise people when it comes to certain things. Otherwise, and
you've got to know your limitations. Every cause you can jump on.
Not every fight, not every battle you figure fight.
And there's times when people say, come to this, come to that, come to this, come to that. I'm like, I'm doing enough at the moment. I've got to think about my welfare. I've got to think about the children's welfare as well. So
she never used to be like that. I had to talk to her hard, because there was everything that came up she wanted to go to. I said, you can't go to everything. So you need to balance it out. So yeah.
I remember the email from somebody that was outside the protest outside the public about the exhibit B.
Sorry, say that again.
I remember I got upset because somebody sent a long email cussing me, saying how come I wasn't outside the campaign for the exhibit B, outside the Barbican with everybody out there beating drums. And I'm like, listen, I've been supporting sister. I've been supporting on the other side, supporting her with the campaign from different ways. I cannot be there outside the Barbican with the babies at this protest. It would not work, because if something kicks off now and I'm in the outside the Barbican with the pram, and something kicks off, baby go flying and all kind of stuff. People like, why am I there? I have to pick my belt. I can't go everywhere.
I've got common sense.
Common sense. And I was vexed, because I'm like, I could have been there, but then I thought, Charmaine, I can't be everywhere. I can't be everywhere. So you have to know your.
And the problem that we have as a people is common sense isn't common.
Not common. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. But even for you to make that decision, Charmaine, in terms of where to be and when to be, and coming to the realization that you can't be everywhere at the same time, apart from Mark there guiding you, how because once you're for the people, and you can see so much that needs doing, and you're a businesswoman as well, so you've got all these inspirations and ideas about what can be done and how we can do it. How challenging is that to deal with in your own self, in finding that balance as to what to do and what not to do?
Yeah, it's very challenging. I'm still having that challenge now every day, because there's many events, programs, campaigns I want to support, but I physically cannot support. You have to have the mental strength to do it. Because I remember when I think we was up late the night of the Grenfell Tower fire. And I was like, and I watched that, and that must have done some things in my head, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and that just messed me up for the week. And I was like, I physically cannot, because people say, oh, let's go down there. So I cannot go there because I know how it affected me, and it's still affected even when I talk about it. And it took a long time for me to even engage in that, because I would have loved to gone down there and support, but I'm like, I cannot go down there because it affected me. It affected my mental health, because I was so upset that whole week. So I was just looking at that and the people that died, and I was thinking, must know people must have come to our events and interacted with us, and they could have been dead in that block. And people's like, oh, come down to the block, and I'm like, I can't do it. Even it's only the other day I drove past the tower and I looked at the tower, the empty shell of that, and I was just like, and it affected me in a way now. And I'm thinking, can you imagine if I was there and then? It was crazy. It was crazy. And I was just like I had to reflect. And even where we're living now, we're living on the second floor flat. And even I was thinking about what would happen if that was us. What would happen? What the escape routes and things.
I think everybody was thinking, even if you're on the ground floor.
What would be? What I could tie together and fling down. What would I be flinging out? Flinging who?
Yeah.
Grabbing? I was thinking all these kind of thoughts in my head. It's affected me in a certain way, but I go down there and support every campaign that's going on. I just support the people there that are doing the work. So if they want a donation, I will give. If they want me to send out an email and help publicize something that's gone, I will do that. There's other ways of doing that, but you may not see me there. But I've supported so much campaigns over the years. I physically may not be there, but I have supported the campaign. And that's what you have to do sometimes. It also affects your mental health. Your mental health and well-being comes first. Because as activists, some people of the community, we tend to forget that. We're doing everything for everybody else. And then when you mash up now that, you're like, well, okay, I'm not taking time for myself. And that's realization over the past, 2-3 years, when I'm saying, you know what, Charmaine, you got to start taking care of yourself more. As I've had the children, I have to be taking care of myself more, because I'm not getting any younger. So I need to start taking care of myself more, because I want to be there doing backflips and running up and down with the children. Can't be there mashing up myself, and then I can't be doing things. No.
It's not something that you kind of woke up one day and thought, you know what, this is how I'm going to try to balance it. This is more a process that you went through over a period of time. And by, the heartfelt traumatic experience of Grenfell, you had already reached that. And I suppose Mark helped you through that process as well. As an elder who said that he had been through some of the stuff already, and watching you go through it, I suppose.
I got a question actually from the chat room, and from the chat room, one of the questions was, did you discuss and decide to work together? How did you kind of come to that realization where you're working together?
Naturally, passion for the history and the Black studies was there from when we done the course, and it just happened. It happened organically. It just happened naturally. We just looked at each other and said it at the same time, like, Jinx, wow. So we knew that it was supposed to be, and so we told that, no, we need to do something with this. It's kind of what we said at the same time, and the rest is history. It was a no-brainer in the end. There was no real discussion. There was discussion on how we do it and all the rest of it. The logo, I designed the logo in my sleep. And everything just came naturally. It's like the ancestors was there. Because when I was in hospital, I was in a bad way. There was one time I was in hospital for 11 weeks. And whilst I was there, ancestors visited me and told me and whatever. And the doctor there said that they were waiting for me to die, basically. And you were definitely here for a purpose. So all of those things just came around, and I said to myself, I got more spiritually connected, because the spirituality was always there. I just didn't understand it. So when you have time to yourself and all the rest of it, you realize that everything happens for a purpose, and nothing ever happens before the time. So this union was always going to happen. But in order for it to be how it is now, both of us had to go through certain things. Does that make sense?
It was ordained. It was ordained.
It was ordained then,
Because a lot of people don't realize that when years ago when my first daughter, Shamari, was she must have been about 3 months old. Mark basically collapsed in the bathroom.
A month old.
Yeah, she was like 4 weeks old. Mark basically collapsed in the bathroom, blood vessel burst in his bowel, and basically collapsed in the bathroom. And I was sleeping, and I'm a light sleeper, and I heard boom. And I looked out, and all I saw was Mark's feet outside, hanging out the bathroom. So I literally walked into the bathroom, and Mark was there, passed out on the floor, and I physically lifted him up. So you imagine, I'm 5 foot nothing. Mark is 6'3".
Are you 5 foot?
Yeah. How much stones? And I literally lifted him up, and then when I looked, all of a sudden he was in a pool of blood. I had to call the ambulance. 2 ambulances came. He had to have like 5 blood transfusions. I could have lost him. He could have died, basically. If I had not woken up,
one time,
if I didn't wake up, he would have died. So a lot of those things that have happened over those years that have brought us closer, because and he's been in hospital a few times, and those are the things that have brought us together closer, because when we was married, like, we said our vows, sickness in health, as in he said, well-being and looking after each other. We have healed each other, we have grown, and those things have brought us together. Once you've gone through those traumatic experiences, minor things like leaving the toilet seat up, or he's watching football, is not gonna bother you. Yeah, those are minor things. When you've gone through watching and touch and go, and watching them having to put your husband upside down because literally he's as white as me, and you know, as Mark as dark and lovely as he is there, his skin went as white as me because he had lost so much blood. When you see those things, the arguments and the petty things go out the window, because you know what, life.
It's about value.
Yeah. And I've experienced lots of deaths in my life, so I value life. That's why I'm always laughing and not taking things too seriously. But we have to live our life, because we've got one life to live, and I'm not living life where we're arguing and in conflict.
Sorry, that was an eye opener for me as well.
Yeah.
The time when I was in the hospital for 11 weeks. When I first went there, they put me in the bed ward. There is a ward that they have in hospital that they know everybody's going to die. So they put them in that ward. And I was there in that ward for 2.5 weeks. And everybody that was in there around me, I watched them die. I watched them wrap them up and move them out and took them out and everything. Does that make sense? So these things come into your head, and then you say to yourself, okay, you are here for a purpose. What is that purpose? I need the guidance. The spiritual guidance came. The union between me and Charmaine grew stronger. So it was like a no-brainer for us to put the course together. It happened organically, naturally, in the sense that, as far as I'm concerned, it was meant to be.
Yeah,
I swear on I can swear and say that if it wasn't for Charmaine, I'd be dead now. There is, it's a no-brainer. If it wasn't for Charmaine, I'd be dead. Serious thing.
So, you know,
and I think when you say that, it makes your relationship very real, you know, to us in the community, you know, the seriousness of it, because obviously we never get to see this side of you. You know, this is now we're talking about the heart.
Sorry to cut you. Let me just add to that as well, right? If it wasn't for me, Charmaine would be with some waste man.
Oh! Ow!
no.
Well, lucky days. Lucky
days. Come on now, listen, hey, an exclusive.
Do you know what? I think the community is so thankful for your union. I think we need to celebrate your union in this community, because you're saying that without each other, one would be dead and the other would be with a waste man.
It wouldn't have gone very well then, basically.
Yeah, Black History Studies, you know, what would have, oh Lord, we would have never known,
it would have never existed. Yeah, so what I hear is it would have never existed, you know, and when you know, it as laughter aside, what you've really taken from your experiences with each other is how much you value each other because of it. You haven't, you know, you're not what I don't hear is taking each other for granted. And I think, you know, and it goes towards a conversation that, you know, this show is predominantly about beliefs and misconceptions in a relationship.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of things, people taking each other for granted. We are in an instant gratification age where things are disposable. People think, I can just, you can treat anybody which way, and there's no karmic situation that's going to occur. Like, ain't something going to come deal with you. Yeah, what miss you don't pass you. Yeah. And so, and then there's the karmic reward. Yeah. And when you look at what is going on with you two, what I hear is the karmic reward. Yeah. For whatever it is you've been dealing with, whether it's your well-being, whether it's relationships that you have been in, you've come to heal that part of her life. She's come to heal that part of your life. And the synergy has made Black studies. Yeah. So,
I completely agree with you, sis.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, and talk about beliefs and misconceptions. Well, so I was in a group conversation, and I know one of the brothers there had recently experienced a near-death experience, and the question was asked to him. It was a group with men and women in there. And the question was asked to the brother, what, are some of the key things that he's looking for in a woman, or he would look for in a woman? And to him, what was important was having somebody that can take care of him, when times do get tough. Him understanding his health circumstances. And, there was quite a bit of backlash from us ladies. I suppose there was some question there about the line between wanting a partner versus wanting a mother.
Yeah.
What's your feelings on that?
I can never, ever step into Modella Simpson's shoes and replace the mother role. And because Mark's mum is just like the stalwart, amazing woman. But I've supported Mark and supported him and looked after him. He's looked after me over the years and done things that you would have never thought a man would have done. Especially when Mark is sick his times. There's times when I've had to wash wounds and become an actual nurse and look after him. And this is what we had to do. Hello, Zizi. One of the babies have woken up. But yeah.
Real life.
Yes. Hello, boom. But yeah, this is what you have to do. You got to take on the role and look after each other. You have to look after them, especially Mark. Many times going to the hospital.
It's to do with I could understand why some of the sisters would have got a bit upset about what the brother said, but it has to be put into certain context, and there has to be a balance with it. It's not about so in other words, he was looking to secure somebody that would look after him should anything happen, but that would happen naturally anyway if the synergy was there naturally. Does that make sense? If he's choosing this person as a partner based on that, it's not going to last.
I agree. So don't look for a mother to look after you. Look for, a partner. And
because you want somebody that, if you're unwell, they're going to go out of their way to help you and look after you. There's many times when I've been 6 months, but what you want, I'll make you something that make you feel better, and then you'll make me some swordfish fritters or something like that. He knows I love that. I'm like, oh, I feel better now. And then there's many times when I've gone out and had to look after him and sort it behave himself and look after him. So it's just a compromise. It's a compromise. We have to look after each other. You can't be in a relationship and not looking out for each other.
If you're basing your relationship on what you can get out of it, it's not going to work.
No.
There has to be a natural connection between both of you. What made you click? What made us click 14 years ago is very much so part of the relationship now. We don't forget them things. What people do is they forget where they're coming from, right? And if you forget where you're coming from, there's no future. Sankofa. You look back to the past and you try from the past what is there in order to make the future better. Yeah, so that's how it should work like that with everything, especially in relationships, right? Because when you got together, right, if you got together based on lust, when the lust's done, you're dead. Relationship done. If you got together based on a common denominator, which is your love for something, your love for each other, the love of this, it will last. If you keep referring back to that, it will last forever. So people that's going into relationships with their mind based somewhere else, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Basing their relationship on what other people's perception of a relationship is.
Yeah, because there is a lot of misconceptions based on.
You can't. One person's relationship will work for them. Other people won't work for other people. You got to look what works for you. And I don't tend to watch what other people are doing because I know that wouldn't work for us. So we just got to work what works for us, and then we just wait.
Yeah, we grow it.
Where I hear when you say what you're saying as well, I think one of the special elements of your relationship, and for people to be able to take away from this as well, as we, draw to a close, you've got little ones waking up, so it's nearly 1 a.m. here, so we want to respect your time, and but when what I hear is you value each other. What I hear is that one of the special things, though, that I hear is that maybe you can tell me if this has always been this way. It was natural synergy for you, but you're receptive to each other. You're not fighting each other's gifts, if you like. You're not fighting what it is he has to give. She's not fighting what you have to give. You're recognizing that, you've got a lot of gifts to give between you, and they're at the forefront. And because a lot of relationships, when we look at misconceptions, when we're looking at post-traumatic slave syndrome, I personally feel the effects of post-traumatic slave syndrome on on Black males and Black females, but certainly with Black males. I have 3 sons, so I recognize a lot in males through my sons, right? And it's receptivity. It's been able to reach them. It's been able to contribute to them. And maybe it goes back to that matriarchal principle that it lies so firmly inside your relationship. You can see that woman as some kind of oracle, to be revered, to be a goddess, to be a queen. You can see it. It's not like you have to fight it. It's not like you have to be, you don't feel like less of a man because she can actually be right or he can actually be right. And, and like you're saying, being right with, evidence as opposed to emotion. I think that's becomes very, very important for a relationship to function, because otherwise, there's emotion, yes, but there's reaction. You said something, you talked about it earlier when you talked about a revolutionary woman can't be with a reactionary man. It has to, and vice versa. If one is kicking off and the other one is in a revolutionary mind, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
So I think it's going to be very, very important. I think what you lay the foundations for, what you say is, you receive each other, and you continuously receive each other. I mean, one question, what principles, what has you, in terms of your world of commitment, what has you choose each other again and again, day after day, month after month, year after year?
Say that again.
What has you choose each other? You're in a commitment, and you choose commitment, What has you choose each other again every day? Wake up and choose each other again and again, every day, every month, year after year. What has you? What's the glue?
The glue is the.
It's cooking. Mark's cooking.
Cooking, humor, just Mark and his madness. That's what.
For me,
what I want to do is lead the people, with some real, jewels for them to take away and actually act upon. Because obviously you even mentioned it about learning and relearning, and if we are using that principle even inside of this conversation, this in itself is a teaching tool. So we have inside of it, what do you see? What is with what you know and what you've learned and what you've taken forward? How do you choose each other every day like that?
For me, for me, what it is for me is I dwell on all of the best things that come out of Charmaine. Does that make sense? Because don't get me wrong, in order for things to work, there has to be a balance. So Charmaine ain't 100% perfect, but I never said she was, and she never was when we first met, right? But what you do is you weigh up the pros and the cons. That's what I do, right? But I always put the cons to one side, because the cons, if the cons ain't major, they don't need to be dealt with. It is what it is. That's just a person's personality. It's their car, it's their bar, it's their spirit, or whatever, right? But it's the pros that I dwell on, and all of the things that make me happy coming from Charmaine. And because if I am vexed with Charmaine, I can't be vexed with Charmaine for more than a day or two, right? Because then what I do is I look at all of the things that she does do and all the rest of it, and I take that and it comforts me. The other thing that keeps me grounded, and I say this to a lot of my male students that chat foolishness when they first come to the class. But when they first come to the class, they have this preconcept that the Bible says that Eve was made from the rib of Adam. So naturally, Adam is over Eve. Does that make sense? My argument to them is, if it wasn't for a woman, you would not be here. Does that make sense? And their argument is, no, if it wasn't for the man, the woman wouldn't be able to conceive. Don't be stupid. Because if you look in nature, there is female species in nature that reproduce without, right? Without the
parthenogenesis, without
parthenogenesis. So, and then the other things is, but, and I said, there's no buts. All you need to do is go and study. The study will tell you, biology will tell you that the male chromosomes, are hybrids of the female chromosomes, which means the female chromosomes was there first, and the male chromosomes came from the female chromosomes. So if you don't respect that and don't respect the fact that the woman is sovereign, you're never going to get anywhere, because you're basing your principles on something that has nothing to do with us as a people. The patriarchy foolishness ain't got nothing to do with us as a people. I know that. Sorry. Alarm. Yeah, that was an alarm to wake me up to do something. But yeah, if you don't adhere to that, it will never work. There has to be a mutual respect, right? In fact, in order for that respect to work, the male has to work hard to put the woman higher on the pedestal, because everybody sees her at a lower place anyway. So in order to elevate her and get her on a level, you have to raise her up, regardless of how high she is, raise her up to the next level. So people recognize that, and they hopefully they will follow suit. And once they follow suit, things can work. But I always think of the best things and what is brought out in the relationship between me and Charmaine and all the rest of it. That's what I think of that keeps me going every day. But some days I can bite her in her forehead, but because the love is so strong, right? You put the bite into the forehead to one side, and you think of nice things.
Who's more jealous out of the two of you?
Then, no, there's no jealousy. Mark is the biggest flirt.
No jealousy.
No, we couldn't be. I couldn't be jealous of Mark, because Mark.
Before Charmaine met me, I don't know. This is why I am the way I am. Before Charmaine met me, I had, in terms of companionship and friends and all the rest of it, my female friends outnumber my male friends 10 to 1.
And I had more male friends than females.
I don't have much friends as such, but the majority of my friends are females. Does that make sense?
A majority of my friends were male, so it was just like,
so
you couldn't get jealous. Not with Mark. Anybody that's met Mark, and the way he carries on, you can't get jealous, because Mark is like, oh yes, you're my wife. Oh, you're my husband. Oh, I like you, did it, and all cracking and joke and stuff. If I was a jealous person, I'm like, oh, you like everybody. Oh, this woman, you love her more than me. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I don't get jealous.
Okay, so jealousy. Jealousy out the window, 100%.
Yeah, and because
we meet so much people.
And because we got trust, I trust Mark. I trust Mark. 100%.
Yeah, of course.
I think when you're in a relationship that's, you know, I think when you have a relationship that's at a high frequency, the jealousy, you know, dissipates. It might be there at the beginning, but as you grow, when you're evolving beings, jealousy is for the lower self. Yeah, it's a lower vibration. Yeah, so if for us to be even, so if we start moving into that, or we take that in, your relationship couldn't last 14 years.
No, not at all, not at all.
Not how Mark is.
And you're
No.
right, sis, in the sense that it's on a lower level. Because for me, it's a distraction. That's the first thing. The second thing, it's a selfish act. Because all you're thinking about is yourself.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? As opposed to you as a couple. Because if you're jealous, then you have some serious issues.
Yeah.
Right? Unless it's blatant. And if it's blatant, it's not going to work anyway.
Yeah.
So either way, it will iron itself out. If jealousy was a main factor in our relationship after 14 years, Lord God, me don't know. I don't know how we're still together then. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You'd have to be operating from a particular frequency all around to have jealousy operating like that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. The whole relationship would be out of kilter.
Yeah.
And you definitely wouldn't be producing these kinds of results, right?
Yeah, definitely not. In terms of the house chores, would you say Mark, Charmaine, or none, or both really? Who takes out the bin mostly?
Both of us.
No, lie. I take out the bin more than you.
No,
not now. I've always taken out the bin more than you. So I mean, this is how it works in the house chores. Just before you go into other questions, I do the majority of the cooking.
Yeah.
Charmaine does the majority of the cleaning. But when it comes to taking out of the bin, that is my job. Me, I did dustbin, man.
No,
the house.
Not all the time. I do it as well.
No, don't get me wrong. On the rare occasion, when I'm in Egypt, right? or not in the country.
When I'm not here,
But when I'm not here, Charmaine's dad always comes up, and he's an integral part in our relationship because he's always there to support us. He comes up and takes it out.
Yeah, there's always if I can get it in there. Oh, shut up.
But the other thing, when you say that, when you say what you're saying, I also hear, because you mentioned it before about family. What I hear is village. Is in your, you talked about your parents being together. That is going to have a foundation. That's going to lay a very powerful foundation given the climate that we're in right now. So, when you say that, your dad will come over, the extended family. Like, if I look at the work that I do as a professional birthing partner, my role only exists because of the death of the extended family. Yeah. So when you say you have an extended family, also, there's a lot of times where I've been married before myself. One of the things that happened, well, I know what happened in my marriage is that as soon as I got married, the whole community said, right, okay, okay, you guys get on with it now. Yeah, ta-da! You're big people now. You're big people now.
Happy marriage.
So true.
And it's the same with children as well. Similar thing when you have children, people just sort of and then they're gone. So when I hear one of the secrets to your success, then is having a village, having the right community of people, because not everybody can enter your inner circle, So it's important. What I hear is that your circle is tight. And that whether it's your family or whoever the community is, because obviously your community people, there could be coming to you in droves, but you have to choose and refuse who's going to be in your circle, because it does take something to have the village mind set. And if you come from even talking about the matriarchal mindset, then your circle gets tighter. Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
That's what I hear.
And it's like my dad, oh my gosh, if it wasn't for him, a lot of the events wouldn't happen, because he comes down and helps with the children. He loves his grandchildren. They love him. Everybody knows dad because we talk about him all the time. The children talk about him all the time. He comes down to our events as well, so people know him as well. He will come down, bring the children, and when we're at an event and I've got ironing in the house, when I come back, all my ironing is done. I just love him for that.
Oh.
Looks after the house, everything. I don't even have to ask him. He's just like integral support. He's always asking for help. When Mark was in hospital, he'd be there helping as well. Mark and my dad always talking about football and all different things as well, and having debates about stuff. So it's really nice to see.
Family.
Yeah, family.
It's a family relationship. It's not just, you know, when you get married, it's for, you're not just doing it for you. You're doing it for your community. So it's not something, you know, we have to take lightly. When I was younger, it was certainly, and I was married then, I was very young, and then it meant that I didn't understand the concept of community at the time.
Yeah.
But I hear community is inside of your relationship, and that is what allows for it to have its level of strength.
Yeah, and we've got
community.
Many
the community
supporters.
starts at home. The community, the first community in your relationship is your family, right?
Yeah.
And then a community grows when families get together. Yeah. Otherwise, we're doomed. So that's why when we do Black History Studies, we push the argument that knowledge of self is important, because with knowledge of self, you can build a family. And once you build the families then can build into a community. Communities can build into a village. Village can build into a nation.
A nation.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Yeah, 100% agree. Charmaine, when you said you did take out the bin sometimes, you're the first woman that I heard that said that, because my husband is the bin man, Mark, and I gladly allow him to be the bin man. But yeah, I could hear Charmaine was like, no, I do it sometimes too.
I'm one of them hands-on, don't care, roll up my sleeves, pick out the bins. With the WD-40 spraying that, all these different things, I would do things like that.
Yeah, so I will agree that Charmaine will take out the bins.
Yeah.
And she's taken it out 14 times in the 14 years that we've been together.
Is that one of the babies that's up again?
Yeah. Zizi, she normally gets up at this time.
Listen, people.
Yes.
This has been a beautiful discussion. I want to take this time here to say thank you to everybody that's been in the chat room, bigging up the show. This is definitely one to go back and rewatch. Yeah, loads of people have been loving your relationship. I know this is an exclusive because people know about Black History Studies, but they may not know the dynamics of your relationship, which now we have had a beautiful showing on, and some beautiful topics have been talked about. And I want to take the moment to say you will be seeing them on this channel again, talking about other subject matters. This won't be the first nor the last. Yeah, I want to thank as well Kings and Queens United for, again, helping with the beautiful discussion tonight, and just bouncing off of Mark and Charmaine. Yeah, before we go, let the people know where to find you, all the different portals, and anything that's up and coming.
Okay, so we have our own website where you can get in contact with us. Our number is 0208 881 0660, or our mobile number 07 951 234 233. By email, info@blackhistorystudies.com. We are on Twitter, we're on Facebook, on Instagram.
MySpace.
No. Just Google Black History Studies. All of them will come up as well. Come to our community events. We're very personable. Just come and speak to us, and just make a relationship with us that way. We do have courses coming up. We have our Introduction to Black Studies course that's happening in January in North and South London. So you can come a 30 weeks Introduction to Black Studies course taught by Mark, where we cover the study of history, politics, sociology, psychology, science, art, religion, and music. Also, we have our Best of Egypt tour that we're doing in May of 2018. So we're going to be, it's a 10-day tour.
We go from Cairo to Aswan and back up again.
Yeah. Basically, and we have our Black Amsterdam tour that's happening in June, July of next year.
It's a long weekend that takes in the
Yeah.
Keti Koti Festival.
Yeah.
Keti Koti means breaking the chains of enslavement, basically.
We're looking at the African presence in the Netherlands and Holland, and we're going to be doing that. We're going to be having other events and film screenings and film festivals happening throughout the year. We're going to continue our Black Market and Film Festival events to support Black businesses. Yeah. And we're just going to be doing lots of more collaboration works during 2018.
We also have our fundraising single even called Black History Studies, right? Yeah, there's the card for it that we give out. It's just to raise funds so we can continue the work that we've been doing over the last 10 years. All right, Charmaine, they got it, right? It's called Black History Studies. We would urge everybody listening in the chat room to go to the website, www.culturemarkmusic.com, and download the track for us. There's going to be more. I've done a few more tracks. Now there's going to be more tracks on there and all the rest of it, but everything that we gain from that will go back into making the business bigger and better and more accessible to people. So it's culturemarkmusic.com. I'm also on Colourful Radio. Big up Kofi, big man Kofi, dealing with Colourful Radio. I'm on there every Monday from 10 to midnight. I've got a nice listenership now, and the topic is called The Message in the Music Show. So we have guests on and all the rest of it, but mainly it's about the message in the music, and we use that to deal with certain topics that are going on within the world now, within wherever, and we try and use the music to deal with it.
All right, all right.
You mentioned, thanks for sharing that. You mentioned North London and South London for the Black History courses. Where in South London do you do them?
We to be at the Pimlico Academy, which is like 5 minutes walk from Pimlico Station.
Cool.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, say that.
So Pimlico Academy. So
Pimlico Academy.
Victoria.
Oh, Pimlico.
Yeah.
Near Victoria. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes walk from Pimlico Underground Station on the Victoria line, and the one in North London is in Wood Green at what is it? Browns Green Road. That's it. St Michael at Bow. When you come out of Wood Green Station, you look to your right, you can see the church in front of you. It's about 2 minutes walk. 2 minutes walk from so, and that's easily accessible as well. Everything is on the website, www.blackhistorystudies.com.
All right. And Kings and Queens United, we know you got an event on next week. Let the people know where that's going to be.
Go ahead, Tamar.
We've got our first year anniversary event next Saturday, the 16th of December. It will be a dinner and dance. We'll be celebrating some of the successful relationships in our community. Quite often we hear a lot of negativity about Black relationships and Black love. At some point we may even feel hopeless, and we're here to highlight that there are positive relationships out there. I mean, if you've been listening in all night tonight, or even tapped in at any point, I'm sure you'll see Mark and Charmaine as a typical example of healthy Black relationship. And we want to highlight this by sharing some successful stories, by having some wonderful food to eat, and just everyone coming down in, things that they feel good wearing. So whatever that outfit may look like, as long as you feel good in it, and you're thriving off the energy of Black love and Black relationships, then we want to have that under one umbrella at our event. We'll have performances there as well, so keeping everyone entertained. Audience will be joining in the discussion, and trust me, our relationship is just something we do not talk enough about. So, and yet we have so much to share whenever we, open up that conversation. So do come and join us. It will be at Rock Island Bar and Grill, 320 Oak Kent Road. SC15UE. If you've been to any of our previous singles events on Oak Road, then it's the same venue. It starts from 7 p.m. till late. You know, we do want to shake 2 feet, shake a 2 foot for them faith. So yeah, once the program's over and we've had a lovely time, we'll have even, you know, a more fun time. Yeah, dancing the night away.
And Charmaine and Mark, will you be there on the night?
Yes, we will be.
I will be there.
Thank you. So we will. So there will be some of our key speakers, a couple of our key speakers that will be there on the night. So if anybody wants to come to the event and meet them personally, and you know, it's an opportunity for you to get to know the work that Mark and Charmaine do. You know, you've heard them tonight on this here show and platform with Black Eyes TV. So we thank Black Eyes TV for, you know, facilitating the show, and Terry Riggs, just for your support as well, you know, coming together to use this together. And yeah, just for you guys to be able to come down to the show, to the event, and also really celebrate the successes. You're live, you're real, you're tangible, you know, you're a tangible couple that's working at it consistently.
Can I just say, sis, we will only be there under one condition. There is a condition to it.
What's that?
You have to play the video to our fundraising single at least once.
Done.
Done.
All right. We're there.
Done. So the other thing is, if anybody wants to, you know, this is an opportunity for other people who want to sponsor the event or be involved in the event, to sponsor or donate in any way to the event. So get in touch with us at Kings and Queens United. You know, tickets are on sale for the event. So yeah, just hope to see you there and enjoying the evening. And Mark and Charmaine will be there live and direct.
So to get your tickets, just to add, that you can go to kingsandqueensunited.com, and if you've got any queries at all, you can email us at info@kingsandqueensunited.com. Want to give us a call? You can call 07494882829.
Okay.
Riggsy.
Terry, Richard, did you wanted to acknowledge any of the, you know, shout out to a few of the comments on the live chat at all?
No. We've wrapped up everybody so far. I mean, I just do my usual. Thanks to the guests again. Support Black media. You know what time it is. Big up to HMP TV. Got Kush TV. Black News 102, Sarnetta TV over there in the States doing his thing. Black Magic 363. You know, you got to support the Black media, or you're never going to hear the realness. You're never going to hear our narrative. And remember, you can watch 1,000 YouTube videos, but you need to go and pick up a book and research and make this stuff your own truth, yeah? As I said, these shows are meant to spark the mind state. They're meant to jolt you into action. So again, don't rest up, rewind the show. I know this has been a good one. Share it, like it, subscribe. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Riggs, are you there? I don't know where Riggsy is right now.
But somebody's got their thing on mute. Maybe he is speaking and he just doesn't realize he's on mute.
Riggsy, something's happened. He's offline or something. But anyway, big up to Terry Riggs, HKTH Knowledge and Travels. Yeah, look out for him, always on the scene. Look out for me, Black Eyes TV, doing this thing big. Watch out for the more shows. As I said, look out for Black History Studies coming on the platform again soon. We will have them back. Thank you to everybody. Peace, family. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
We are offline.